Hey everyone, Jim here from GuitarLessonsForAll.com. We're going to have a little beginner lesson with sweep arpeggios with basic triads, major, minor, and diminished. And we're going to do those between the B and the high E strings. So I am tuned to regular tuning, standard tuning. In the video that I shot previously when we playing Malmsteen stuff, I was tuned to E flat, but now we are in regular tuning. So tune up your guitars, and here we go. So we're going to start off with a C major arpeggio. Again, these are triads, and this is basic sweeping technique. And basically this is the basis to do all those really complex and cool arpeggios, but this is where you want to start with this. So without further ado, we're going to take our second finger and we're going to put it on the 13th fret of the B string, 12th fret on the high E with the first finger, and then our pinky is going to be on the 15th fret of the high E on the G note. So it's going to be frets again, 13, 12, 15. And here's how that sounds with the sweep. Now if we want to make that minor, again we're 13, 12, 15, we're just going to take that 12th fret, move our first finger down one fret to the 11th, and we're going to be playing 13, 11, 13, 11, 15. Now if we want to make that into a diminished, we are actually taking the 12 and the 15 and moving that down one fret on both of those, and then we're still going to play the 13 of the B string. So this is going to be C diminished. Now I play this with my second, first, and third fingers like this. Or if you prefer, you can play it with your third, first, and fourth fingers. It just sits better with me when I play it with these three fingers, that's all. It's major, minor, diminished. Now, there are a couple things here, little tricks, so to speak, that you're going to be very aware of when you're learning sweep picking. The first thing is, notice when I am doing going between the B and the E string, my fingers are exchanging. I am not holding them down at the same time, because the last thing you want is to get the notes to sound out at the same time. We don't want that. So as we play the 13th fret of the B with our second finger, we're going to lift that up and then put our first finger down on the 12th. Now the other thing too, and this has to do with your right hand, you don't want to rush the sweep. You don't want to do this. You want to have a nice even flow. Now, to get that, what I would recommend is what they call in classical guitar doing a rest stroke. So basically, you're doing a downstroke and you're not doing a double down. Notice I wasn't doing this when I was doing a sweep. I wasn't doing two downstrokes in a row. It was one continuous motion. Now, the term rest stroke means when you take one finger, this is when you're picking with your right hand on classical guitar, and you're resting it to the next one before you strike the next note. In this case, we're using a pick, so what we're going to do is once we do our downstroke, we are coming to rest on that E string, and then we just continue with the stroke. So notice this is one stroke, the downstroke, and then when I go to put my first finger down on the 12th fret, I continue with the stroke. And then finally the upstroke on the 15th fret. So that's ascending C major, C minor, and then C diminished. Now, to do them in reverse or descending, it's going to be just the opposite. We're going to start with, we're still starting with a downstroke, but the sweep now is going to be up. And notice the same principle applies. I'm resting on that B string as I'm coming up. Notice that upstroke again is one continuous stroke. It's not two upstrokes in a row. Now to get a better look at it, where you can see my picking hand doing, we zoomed in a little bit and I turned the guitar. So you can see when I do my sweeps, I'm not holding the pick right against the strings. It would create a lot of resistance if I was to try to do this. It's almost like I'm fighting it to get through the string. What I'm doing is just like if you were painting a wall with a paintbrush. When I do my downstroke, I'm angling my pick and I'm kind of exaggerating so you can get the idea. It's a lot less resistance. And again, the same principles apply. Notice I'm letting the pick fall and go to the next string and rest on it. Same thing when I do an up. It's going just the opposite way. So when I do bigger sweeps, this is pretty much the motion I'm using. So let me show that to you with that C major triad, that C major arpeggio. That's with the ascending and the descending. Slow it down a little bit so you can see the motion. Again, ascending slow motion. Now notice when I come for that upstroke, my pick is in the opposite direction. And then when I do the descending, it's just the opposite. So I'm going to give you a little exercise and a little arpeggio practice to work on here. So we're going to get that for you right now. Notice we kicked down the distortion here to give it that more metal, metal feel, metal vibe. So this is going to be all in the key of C major, or A minor, however you want to look at it. But I would look at it more as C major because we are starting on C. So the first one, again, is going to be that 13th fret, 12th fret, and 15th fret of the B and the E strings. Then we're going to go down to B diminished, which is, again, I like to use my first, second, and third fingers for diminished. So I'm using my second finger on the 12th fret of the B, first finger on the 10th fret of the high E, and then third finger on the 13th fret of the high E. And what I would do for each one of these is I would play them 8 times so you can start getting that triplet feel and how they should sound. Remember, we don't want this because a lot of beginners have a tendency to rush the sweep, and I used to do it myself. We don't want that. We want a nice, even triplet feel. Again, that was C major. Going down to B diminished. And don't worry about playing it fast. The thing you want to do is you want to concentrate on is playing it even and slow and have all your articulations pretty even and consistent in volume and tone. And then we're going to move down to A minor, which is going to be 10th fret of the B, 6th fret of the high E, or excuse me, 8th fret of the high E. So it goes 10, 8, and then it's going to be 12th fret of the high E. Now we're going to go to G major, which is going to be frets 8, 7, 10. Then we're going to do F major, which is going to shift that down 2 frets to 6, 5, and 8. So C major, B diminished, A minor, G major, F major. And you can ascend with them. I just put that with my third finger just to give it a little more vibrato. Now, once you start getting this down, here's the other thing too, here's the other trick. You want your transitions where you're not stopping in between when you're shifting through the arpeggios. So you don't want to do this. And then shift, then play. I mean, I understand that you might have to do that at first, but your eventual goal is to switch between them without any hesitation. Now, the other thing we can do now to put a variation of this, and this lesson's going on a little longer than I was going to do, but I want to have you get the full scope of this so you get a really good workout with this. So we can do that descending. Then we can go back up the arpeggios. Now we're going to make it a little more difficult. What we're going to do is we're going to skip, again, we're going to just keep these with one stroke for now, and then what we're going to do is we're going to vary the strokes. So now we're going to do an ascending on the C major, skip over the B diminished and go to the A minor. Come back to the B diminished, and then go down to G major. Come back to the A minor, then go down to the F major. So now we have a sequence that sounds like this. And then we can climb back up. Now we can also do that with the descending ones. And then climb right back up the arpeggios. Now the ultimate test is to switch between them. So let's start with the easier one. We're just going to go right down in sequence first. So we're going to start with the C major, ascending. Now we're going to go to the B diminished, descending. So that's going to sound like this. Now we're going to go to A major ascending, or excuse me, A minor ascending, to the G major descending, to the F major ascending. So that whole sequence sounds like this. Now the final test will be to do that skipping every other arpeggio like we just did a little earlier. So we're going to start on the C major, skip over the B diminished and go to the A minor and descend with that pattern. Come back up to the B diminished and we're going to ascend. Then we're going to go to the G major and descend. A minor ascend. Finally to the F major descend. So that slow is going to sound like this. try that a little faster. So that was our lessons in your basic triad arpeggios. If you like this lesson you'll get a good work out of it, make sure you hit that subscribe, you hit that thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe to the channel. You can also go to my website and go to guitarlessonsforall.com. That is with a 4. It's not spelled out, guitarlessonsforall.com. Subscribe to my newsletter. There will be other information in the blog. And besides just lessons, there'll be advice, tips, tricks, some new guitar players that you might want to check out, and basically anything guitar related, gear related, everything that's all guitar. So we'll see you in the next video, and take care. Thanks.